Hello and welcome to SportsBeat TV, a production of Oregon SportsBeat, your leader in live local high school sports. And what we're going to do tonight on SportsBeat TV is we're going to interview one of the local coaches and a couple of the players of the very successful Lincoln Cardinal boys basketball team. We're joined right now by head coach Heather Seeley-Roberts. Heather, thanks for joining us tonight. And first of all, congratulations on the season you're having. You had a very good season last year. Now you're off to a really good season. You've been up as high as second in the OSAA power rankings. I think you're currently at number 5 with a 16-3 record. Tell us a little bit about how the season is going.
Well, I think the season's meeting our expectations. So we had really big goals coming into the year. We came off a good year last year going 18-7, but we got knocked out of the playoffs by Cleveland in the second round, and so we want to go to the state tournament this year and hopefully win a state title. So we're hoping that's our big goal, so we're setting it up there. So we set a really ambitious preseason schedule, and we played the best teams in the state, and I thought we fared well. We competed against all of them. We lost a couple, but I thought they were good learning experiences. I know in our league so far, we are 10-0 in the league, so trying to take care of that too. You
set an ambitious schedule in the preseason. Ambitious would be an understatement.
Yes.
You opened the season with, in the Jamboree, you played Barlow. You beat them. They're currently ranked number 3 in the state. Mountainside, number 4, you played them and beat them. Then you played Beaverton. You beat them. I know that was a game it was a memorable game. Every one of your starters was in double figures in that game. You had a couple
of... That was also the first game in our new gym.
And the first game in the new gym.
Yes.
And come away with a win.
That was fun.
That was big. When you got to the Les Schwab tournament, you played Bishop Gorman. They're one of the nation powerhouses every year. And then you played Beaverton again. You've actually played 7 ranked games so far this year, and you guys are 5-2 in those games.
Yeah, and I thought, and that's why we set it on purpose. So last year, when we came in, our preseason wasn't as tough, and so half of your ranking depends on your teams that you play their schedule. And so that kind of hurt us when we played some teams that weren't as competitive and didn't have as good a record. So we tried to be really ambitious this year with what we did.
Let's talk about those rankings for just a second. I know most coaches say don't pay any attention to the rankings. You were up as high as 2. You're down at number 5 now.
Yes.
You're 10-0 in league, but you have teams in the league that are not very high in the power rankings, and it drags you down a little bit.
Yeah, it's an interesting, people say don't pay attention to the rankings, but you have to pay attention to the rankings because that determines where you're going to end up when playoffs come and who you're going to play. And so everybody's watching those rankings all the time to see where you're at. And last year, we ended up, I think, at 14, and we ended up playing Cleveland for the 3rd time. And if we would have been one spot different, we would have gotten to play a different opponent, which I think could have had a different outcome. And so it's just, so that it is important. And so we can only control what we can control. That's why we tried to set up the really hard schedule preseason. And then our league, I thought our league set all of our teams really, also really competitive schedules. And unfortunately, they didn't win as much as, I thought they competed well, but just didn't win as much. And then that ultimately comes back and hurts in the rankings.
Last year there were 4 PIL teams in the top 12. Now there's 1, you. Last year there were no teams from the Mount Hood Conference. Now 4 teams from the Mount Hood Conference are in the top 9. So it is kind of that how the balance of the league is, how you, if you win those games, it doesn't get as much in the power rankings as if you beat.
Well, and also the PIL league changed a lot this year, so Robert Key from Grant went over to Westland, and Adrian Mosley went with them, and so he was the player of the league last year. And then Don Drell left Cleveland and went over to Grant, and then Christian Green went with him. So it's like, so the teams, so they set these schedules based on what they thought it was going to be last year, and then it was different. So we're one of the few teams that are the same.
I've kind of gotten around this year, and I've actually covered 5 of the top 10 teams in the state in games that I've broadcast. And to me, of the 5 I've seen, you guys are the best.
Well, thank you.
One of the features of your team, it's something that you can't coach. You can't coach height.
Yep.
And you guys have it A lot.
We have a lot. We're the tallest team in the state.
Tell us a little bit about the height that you have.
Well, so I've got Graham Eichenberry, that's a senior, and he's 6'10", and so he starts for us at post. And then I have our point guard is Malachi Seeley-Roberts, and he's 6'8". And then
Your son?
My son, yes. And then my other son is 6'6", and he plays a post, so he's the shorter one, but he's a little stockier. And so he's 6'6", he plays the post, and then off the bench we have Evan Heisler coming in that's also 6'10". And so one thing I really like about it, like our practices, and then so now a 6'3" kid looks short on the team, but for a lot of teams,
Right.
6'3" would be their biggest player. And so what I like in practice is like when our posts get together, they're getting to go against the tallest, biggest, some of the best kids in the state every day in practice, which really helps us.
I did Clackamas's game last Friday night. They're currently in the top 10. Their tallest player, I think, they had on the court was about 6'3".
Yeah.
And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, how would that team fare against Lincoln?
Yeah, we play them in the Jamboree.
You did,
yeah.
I know.
And so so we'll play them.
There was one game that stood out. One of the games I did for you guys was the Benson game that you beat Benson 68-7. That was about as exciting a game as I saw all year. Malachi went to the free throw line with 3 seconds to go. You were down by 1. He had just stood there calmly and hit 2 free throws, and you won the game.
Yeah, and that's where and that's what you get out of seniors. Seniors step up, and Malachi's played in a lot of big games, so we had confidence that he was going to do that. Every time we play Benson, the game's really close. We've had 2 close games with them. Last year it was a 1-point win. We got last year, last game of the season, then we just beat them by 1. And so they've got some really good players. They're well coached, and it was fun. It was a fun game, but I was really glad we came out on top.
For people that are not familiar with you, and I don't know how that could be, but I know you played sports in high school. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, so I was a very average athlete that worked really hard. So they had, I played basketball at Crescent Valley High School. I also did track for a year and did a couple things, but I just really loved basketball. And I've always wanted to coach and teach ever since I was 10 years old. And then I played a year at Lewis and Clark College. And then after which I transferred back to Oregon State, and I am definitely not a D1 athlete. So I started coaching at Crescent Valley back with my alma mater. With Craig Ellingson, and so I coached there until I graduated.
I know Craig is the girl who played basketball at Benson, Sierra. Is that his daughter?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he has his son is named Chad.
Chad.
He's living in Benton, yeah. So
Okay.
he doesn't have a daughter.
And so when did you start coaching?
So I started coaching. I was JV coach in 92. So I did JV for 3 years, and then when I graduated from college, I went to David Douglas, and I was the freshman coach there for a year. And then they actually called my high school coach, Craig, and said, Ashland did, and said, would you be interested in coming down here to coach down here? And he said, no, but I know someone that might be. So I got a head coaching job at 26 off Craig's recommendation. And I went into a school that had, they'd only won 4 games the previous year, but they had 6'4" and 6'3", which is very tall for girls. And so we went down there, and so we did really well. And so we made it to the state tournament my last 2 years there. Actually, we made it 3 years there.
They play in the Southern Conference, right?
Play in the Southern Conference. At that time, the Southern Conference was really, really good at girls basketball. And I actually ended up having like 6 D1 athletes come through my program that played basketball for me. And and now those girls are now mothers, and a lot of them live in Portland, and they come and watch our teams play. And so it's really fun to
That's
see
exciting.
that. Yeah, I've been coaching a long time.
After Ashland?
I went to Lake Ridge High School. And so I went up there, and I was there for 5 years, and my team was really good. And I had a state player of the year, Jillian Harmon, she played state player of the year for 3 years, played at Stanford, played the New Zealand Olympics, still playing professionally. I had a lot of really good kids that just bought into what we were doing. And we also went to the state tournament 3 times.
Right, they have a long history of girls basketball.
Yeah, they do. And so 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at state. And then after that, I went to Canby High School, and I was there for 6 years. And then I was there for 6 years, and then I actually lost my teaching job there, so I had to move, and then I went to Sprague High School, and I was just there for a year, and that's when I learned a lot about myself as a coach, because I took over the worst team in the state, and so I thought, I'm a pretty good coach, and at the end of the year, we were still the worst team in the state, but I learned a lot about, it changed my, not necessarily changed my philosophy, but I was like, how do I make this still a meaningful experience for these kids that obviously a state title is not in their goal, just being competitive was a goal. And so I actually changed kind of some of the things that I did. And then the next 4 programs that I've taken over have all been programs that have not been very successful. And so I've been able to come in. It was really a foundational year for me. And so I went to college for 4 years, took over a school that had just moved to the Division III level. And so by the time I left, we were at 500. That was at Southern Virginia University.
D3, that's no scholarships,
yeah,
right?
Division III.
And that was the girls you were coaching
Yes,
there.
and I coached the women there.
How do you, when you get a program like you said at Sprague and you're kind of down and stuff, how do you keep the fun in that?
So you have to, so with that, we spend a lot of time in practice. Like we try to make practice fun, and not fun like mess around fun, but fun teaching the kids how to work hard. So our goals were work hard, be committed, and be coachable. And so trying to still learn those life skills. And so we just tried to make practice really competitive. We set game goals that we thought were reasonable. Okay, let's see if we can get this many points. Let's see if we can get this many rebounds. Let's see if we can get this many stops. And so we tried to celebrate little successes. And then the girls, though, we did win. They'd only won 2 games the previous 2 years. So we did win 6, and we won our very last game. And you would have thought we won the NBA championship. They were so excited. And I'll never forget, they got interviewed, and then they go, "How does it feel?" And they go, "I don't know. We've never won before." So it was kind of exciting. But I'm still really close with those girls, and they felt like it was a successful season because they got better, and they like that feeling of working hard.
How'd you make the transition from high school to college?
So that was just really random. My daughter was going to school at Southern Virginia. It's a church-based college, Church of Christ of Latter-day Saints, out on the East Coast, and she was playing tennis there. And so I went out to visit her, and the tennis coach was also the women's AD. And she goes, "Hey, we have this basketball opening, and we're actually doing interviews today." And I love to interview because I was teaching a career ed class, and I was like, "Oh, I'll go in and interview." And I interviewed. I didn't think anything about it. And then they called me 2 weeks later and said, "You got the job." And I was like, "Oh." And so we hadn't planned on moving to the East Coast. So we went ahead and moved. My husband's job was still in Oregon, so we kept our house in Canby, and we would go back and forth. And so I did that for 4 years. And then, so the boy, my son's Moroni, Malachi, then went to middle school and in Virginia. And we were actually really close to West Virginia, so it was kind of rural. It was really small, and I could see then the twins were going to be pretty good while we were coaching. And so and we actually lived like right next to campus, so they were in the gym every day with me, and they went on all my trips with me with the college team, so they're just around the team all the time, played basketball all the time. And then I could see they were going to be pretty good, and I was like, I think I might want to coach boys. And nobody was coaching boys. No, women were coaching boys at the time in Oregon.
Right.
And so I started asking
You're the first,
around.
I believe, aren't you?
I'm the second. The first one was in 1939.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And then I'm the first one in the 20th century. So,
all right.
So I started asking around, and I would come back, and I still worked the same girls' team camp that I'd always worked for years when I was a coach, and now I was working at trying to recruit players and help out. And I talked to a lot of coaches around there, and some people would go, "Oh, that would never work." And then other people were like, "Oh, I think that would work." And they go, "You should really apply at a small school." So when I decided to start applying, one of my references used to be, his name was John Ogden. He used to be at Yamhill Carleton. He said, "They have an opening. Why don't you apply there?" So I applied there. I got the job, and we did the interview on Zoom. I didn't even know it was 2 towns. I mean, I didn't know it was 2 towns. I didn't know anything about it. We flew back, and I saw the school, and so I went ahead and took the job. And right after I took the job, they go, "By the way, you only won 3 games last year, and you graduated 9 seniors." And I was like, "All right, thank you." And so in our first year, we were awful. Like, we won 4 games. We never beat a 3A team. But the kids bought into what we were doing. And when I first started, like, all these TV stations came and radios came, and and we were not good, but they came and they'd watch, but the kids really bought in. And then I realized it's no different coaching boys than girls. Kids, they want to be pushed hard. It's the same things: be coachable, work hard, be committed. And then the second year, the kids knew the system better. Moroni, Malachi came in. We won 16 games that year. And then we had the COVID year, as you know that. And then, we came back, and then the 3A set up a state tournament, and we won the state title then our last year in 2021.
And I believe you beat De La Salle North Catholic in the
That was in the semifinals.
Semis.
Yeah, so in the championship, we beat Cascade Christian. Yeah, 52-50.
And a small town like that, kind of been down on basketball, now wins a state championship. It must have been exciting.
Oh, it was super exciting. But it was weird winning it in June. so then you're in the, anyways,
Right.
it was June and it was sunny outside. But anyways, it was so fun. And the kids just it was just such a nice reward for those kids and all the hard work that they had bought in. Because a lot of those kids, I had a lot of seniors and they had been with me when we had won 4 games the year before. And in fact, I remember we had won 2 teams scored 100 points on us on purpose. And so I just took pictures of the score and I didn't say anything. And I was like, they're going to pay for that. And so sure enough, then 2 years later, then we came back and beat those 2 teams in our league and came back. And it was nice vindication for them that they could see that their hard work paid off.
That was fodder for motivation.
Yes.
Okay, so you've won a state championship. Your sons play on the team.
Correct.
They're sophomores. You come to Lincoln. How did that happen?
So that summer, then after we had done, after we'd won the title, then Jeff Peeler, and so he's a district athletic director for Lincoln, and he's actually one of the people I talked to when I was deciding whether I wanted to go boys, and he was encouraging me to go for it, though he didn't offer me a 6A position at that time. So anyways, so then he called and he goes, hey, this job's open up at Lincoln. And I was like, oh, that's so far. We live in Newburgh, and I'm like, that's so far away. That's in downtown Portland. And he goes, hey, it's PIL basketball. And so we thought about it. He actually gave us a tour of the school. And he's a pretty good salesman.
The old school.
The old school. Yeah, he's a pretty good salesman. And so we decided, let's go ahead and go for it. So we decided to go for it. And the twins had done really well at the 3A level, and we wanted to challenge ourselves to see what happened at the 6A level. We didn't know what was going to happen. We knew also the team had only won 2 games the year before.
Exactly.
So we're coming in and seeing how that's going to go. But the kids, they just bought in from day one, because when you don't do as well, then it's like, okay, we should probably listen because, what we've been doing hasn't been working. So let's try to listen here. And so the kids just bought into what we were doing, and we were really successful last year.
All right, before we bring your players on, I want to ask you one other question.
Okay.
I get there to the games and I look down and you're dressed one way. And when the game starts, I notice you're dressed another way. You're in red and black. When the game starts, what kind of brought that on?
Well, so I teach there at the school. I remember I live like 45 minutes away. So when I come in the morning, I look like I've just been shopping for Christmas. I've got 14 bags on my arms I got dragged in. So I've got all my clothes down there. And so I teach PE, so I get done teaching PE, I run down, I make sure everything's all set up, run down, shower, get changed, and then come up. And sometimes my PE kids don't even recognize me because they only see me in shorts and stuff. So, but I try to wear my nice clothes once in a while.
I think it's great that you wear the red and black when the game starts. All right, we're going to take a break here, and we're going to bring in your 3 players.
Hey.
We'll have you introduce them, and we'll talk with the actual players on the Lincoln Cardinal.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back to SportsBeat TV, a production of Oregon SportsBeat. Tonight we're with the very successful Lincoln Cardinal boys basketball team, currently 16-3, I believe. We're with head coach Heather Seeley-Roberts. And Coach, you brought 3 of your players with you. Would you like to introduce your players?
Yes, and 2 of them are very easy to bring. They're in the car with me. So this is Moroni Seeley-Roberts, and so he's a senior. And this is his twin brother, Malachi Seeley-Roberts, also a senior. And then this is Jimmy McCartan, and he is a senior as well. And so post, he plays post. Malachi plays a wing and post, and Jimmy plays a wing for us.
Before we start talking to the boys, I have one other question for you. What's it like coaching your kids?
I love it. I love it. I don't know if they love it all the time, but and so we have to. I like the fact, one, they know it was nice coming into Lincoln because they already know what I expect, and so they know our expectations. I do have to be careful when we leave the gym. We don't talk about, we do talk about basketball, but I quit coaching them at that point. We just talk about, other things. So I want to make sure we don't cross that line because mom's most important first. But on the floor, they call me Coach Roberts.
And when you're in the huddle and you're talking about a play that's coming up, you're in charge.
Oh, yes. Sometimes they forget that, but no, we go over that mom's in charge.
All right,
in charge.
Let's talk to Moroni Seeley-Roberts first. Moroni, you're a senior.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I've been playing for Coach Roberts my whole high school career. And so we started at Yamhill Carlton. Me and Malachi played there our freshman and sophomore year. We won the state championship there, and then we moved to Lincoln when she got the job.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'6".
And you like to initiate the action. You like to bring the ball up and set everybody where you want them, don't you?
Well, that's his job. He's the point guard. I'm the guy inside, though.
When did you start playing basketball?
Since the day I was born. I mean, we just went to, because she's been coaching the whole time, so every practice we would just go with her and just always be in the gym with her and just always have a basketball with us. So we've grown up in the gym.
Your mom coached in college for 4 years. You lived by the campus.
Yeah.
I imagine you hung out at the gym quite a
Oh
bit.
yeah, that was great times. We lived like 30 seconds away from the gym. We were always on campus, always in the gym. It was so fun.
Play other sports when you were younger?
Yeah, I did soccer when I was younger. Then I did football when I was in middle school. And then this year I played football in my senior year for the first time in high school.
Let's talk about that for just a second. How did that come about that you decided to go out and play football? You're a basketball player. You can get hurt playing football.
Yeah, that was the only reason I wouldn't play. But people were saying like, I'm pretty big, so like they were saying I'd be pretty good. So I was thinking like, why not try it? It's my senior year, and then I tried it and I had a great time playing, and it was really fun. We didn't do too good, but it was a great experience. And
For the last 4 years, I've done all of Lincoln's football games. And Lincoln has a tradition of having some really good defensive players, defensive ends. You played defensive end. Sometimes you stood up. Sometimes you were down on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
I thought 2 years ago, I saw Brady Kopetz, who played defensive end for the Cardinals, and I thought he was as good as I had seen. This year, I thought you were just as good as he was. I thought you were unblockable at times.
well, I appreciate that.
Did you like getting your hands on the quarterback?
I mean, at first I was like a little scared of the contact, but then as the season went on, like I started to enjoy like hitting people more and like just being more and more physical.
I know we talked about it during the season on the air, and we were talking, Moroni seems to get more aggressive every week.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I tried to do.
You also played on offense. You played wide receiver. Like I was talking to you before, I had looked down there sometimes, and you were out on the outside and wide receiver at 6'8" or whatever you are, and the guy guarding you was about 5'10".
Yeah. I mean, it helps being tall when you're going against short people. And then I had a great quarterback as well, and me and him are best friends now. So.
Now, is football in your future at all?
I don't think so. I think it's just a one-time thing, but you never know. But I'll probably play basketball in college and stick with that.
I know you were joking earlier. You have a ring. You won a
Yeah.
state championship as a sophomore at Yamhill Carlton. How about a ring this year? Is that in the future?
Oh yeah, that's the goal. I mean, just from the beginning of the year, we've brought up winning a state championship every day in practice, every game. We practice like we want to win a state championship, and when we aren't practicing like that, coach makes sure she reminds us, and we pick it up because that's our ultimate goal. And we've had that goal from the beginning of last year when our season got cut short.
You guys have played a brutal schedule, and yet you've come away with wins against all those teams that are ranked in the top 10 in Oregon. What's been the highlight of the season for you?
One of the highlights has been, I think, probably was our first game at the new gym was when we played Beaverton. It was like a preseason number 2 versus number 3 matchup, I think, and then we came to the new gym and we just played one of the best games we played all season, and I think that it was just a great time, and we had a bunch of people there, and it was just really fun, especially first time in the new gym, first home game all season. I think that was one of my best memories.
2 years at Yamhill Carlton, then a year in the old gym at Lincoln. What did you think when you walked into the new gym the first time?
Completely different. I mean, I do miss the iconic Lincoln gym, the checkerboard walls and stuff,
Right.
But there's nothing like beating a new basketball gym. It's beautiful.
When you look back on your season so far, what's been the highlight of the season for you?
For me, I think it's just being able to become brothers with the people on my team, and at the beginning of the year, I mean, we were close and stuff, but as the season's been going on, we've just really become a brotherhood and a family, and I think that's been the best part, and we're gonna continue to grow and have these relationships after the season. I think that was the best part for me.
All right, you're a senior.
Yeah.
What's coming up after this year for you?
Yeah, so I plan to serve a 2-year mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and then I'll probably play JUCO basketball, junior college basketball. I'm not sure where yet, but I'm keeping all my options open, and then hopefully after a year or two of junior college, move up to Division I level.
And is playing with your brother in the future?
Maybe, maybe not. I mean, it's whatever is the best fits for each of us individually. And if that happens to be at the same school, I mean, then so be it. I know Mom wants us to play together, but we'll have to see.
All right, thanks, Moroni.
Thank you.
Maybe get Mom, your thoughts about Moroni as a player.
Oh, it's great to have Moroni on your team because he's just one of those kids, like he's very, very competitive. And so he senses when you need a basket, you need a stop, you need a big rebound. He just wants to win, and he'll do what it takes to win. And so he's just got, it's just one of those things you can't teach or coach. It's just, he has that extra factor. And also he's probably our most physical player, and he's one of the few, the rest of them want to be physical, but they're not as quite as big. We're tall, but we're also thin, if you notice. And so he's one of the ones that is kind of bulkier, and so he's not afraid to go bang it up down there.
That's what I see when I watch the game. Let's talk to Malachi next. Malachi, thanks for joining us tonight, and congratulations on a very successful season so far.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
And tell us a little bit about your background in sports.
Well, I got a pretty similar background to Moroni.
Since you're twins, you're probably about the same.
Yeah, growing up, played a lot of sports, and then our freshman, sophomore year, played soccer at Yamhill Carlton. I did not play football this year. I'm sure the coach was really upset that he couldn't have me play. But
Did coach hit you guys up beforehand and say, hey, can you come out and play football?
Yeah.
He did?
He did.
well, he hit Moroni, not me. And then just growing up, also playing basketball, being in the gym since I was a little kid, as long as I can remember, just playing basketball every day.
You played soccer, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Any other sports?
Not in high school, no. Just soccer and basketball.
Soccer and basketball. When this has been a very successful season for you, you stand out in my mind when I go back and look at the Lincoln games that I've seen, and the incident that I remember most, it's the end of the Benson game. Mm-hmm. There's 3 seconds up on the clock. You're down by 1. It's 67-66, and you get fouled. Mm-hmm. Going to the line, shooting 2. What were you thinking when that happened?
I was just thinking I've done this a million times in practice on my own and in games. Just every rep every free throw that I've shot is all comes down to like moments like this, down by 1, 2 free throws. I was actually pretty confident. Coach was like, if he makes this, I was like, Coach, when I make this. But I was pretty confident. I think I'm a pretty good free throw shooter, and I had no doubt that I was going to make those.
Tell me about the camaraderie among the players on the team this year. Obviously, you play with your brother. That's a good start.
So we are all like really good friends. We all get along. We spend a lot of time outside of practice and outside of school together, whether it's like going to get food or spending like team parties at someone's house. We're like always together. And I think that has really shown how we play on the court. We have really good chemistry. A lot of teams you see when things aren't going like the way they hope or the way they wish, they kind of turn on each other and be like, you should be doing this, or why aren't you doing this? And whenever things are going wrong for us, we're always coming together, and we're like, play better, we become stronger because of that chemistry we have on and off the court.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'8".
6'8", and you're playing at the point.
I do
bring
play
the ball.
point guard.
You bring the ball up. You like doing that?
I do. I've been playing point guard since I was a little kid. I think that's where I'm best on the court, and I think that's just the best opportunity for us to win if I'm playing point guard.
You bring the ball up. You look in front of you, and there's Moroni playing in the front. There's Graham Eikenberry playing in the front. Sometimes Evan Heisler is up there too. You got a lot of ways to go inside when you get that ball up there. But you're a pretty good shooter from the outside. I've watched you making a lot of threes this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you have big guys, it makes it a lot easier to pass inside. You can just kind of be like, hey, Graham, catch, and then just throw it high, and he'll go get it. Moroni has really good hands. He'll go get it. So just having good posts, it also opens up for me and Jimmy on the outside to be able to hit outside shots. If they have to double team Moroni and Graham inside, that leaves it open for you outside. So a lot of the credit for my threes, for my outside shooting, goes to the post.
Now, at 6'8", you'd bring the ball up over the timeline, and you look and maybe there's a 6-foot guy guarding you. Does that happen a lot?
Yeah, most of the time. Well, since I play point guard and I'm not even the tallest player on our team, usually they have their biggest guy guarding Graham and their second biggest guy guarding Moroni, and then they have their best outside defender guarding me. So I'd say most of the time people guarding me are around 6'2", 6'3".
And that you still like to take the ball to the basket, though.
Uh-huh. I mean, if I'm 6 inches taller than someone, I should be able to finish over them.
Do you have a particular game that stood out in your mind this year?
I would say beating Cleveland at Cleveland, our first league game, because last year they were the only team in the PIL that we didn't beat, and they also knocked us out of the playoffs. So we kind of had like this chip in our shoulder when we went in to play them. We played at Cleveland, our first league game, and we were up by like 15 at one point, and then they came back and made it close, and then we ended up winning by 5. So that was a really fun game for us.
Because you lost them 3 times last year, so that was really a big win when you first time that you beat them. Now you're a senior. What are your plans for the future? Are you going on a mission for 2 years too?
I'm serving a mission, yeah.
Do you know where you guys are going to do that?
We probably won't find out for another couple months.
Okay. And after that?
Probably same plan as Moroni. Play college basketball. Hopefully get to the Division level one day.
Division I level. You both want to play at Division I level?
That's the goal.
Have you got any school in mind that might be someplace you'd like to wind up?
No, I mean, not for me. I'm just keeping my options open. Some schools are talking to us, but just trying to find the best fit for me.
Mom wants us to play at Oregon State, her alma mater.
He'll be.
Maybe they want you to play there too.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Give us a call, Wayne. Yes.
All right. Tell us a little bit about having Malachi out on the court.
Oh, this is, having a point guard that's not only tall, but very gifted. He's got super high basketball IQ. Also, he can shoot, and so teams can't just leave him out there. The other thing he's really added to his game this year is we take him down sometimes and post him up when he does have someone smaller on him, and he can finish from the inside. I think his game's really stepped up this year. I think he's really contributing points, rebounds, and assists, and so he's just really all-around player. I've just seen a lot of growth in him.
How's it like having Mom be your coach?
I mean, like, my whole life I've had her coaching us, so it's kind of, I don't know anything different. On the court in school, she's Coach Roberts, and then at home, she's Mom. So it's kind of like I don't know, I'm used to it.
That's a good break to do it that way. All right, let's talk to Jimmy McCartan. Jimmy, thanks for joining us, and congratulations on a great season. Plays one of the guards on the Lincoln Cardinal basketball team. Tell us a little bit about your sports background.
Yeah, so I've been playing basketball like as long as I can remember. Also watching my older siblings play basketball. So I've been in a gym most of my life. And I've tried also many other sports. I tried soccer when I was little and played football and lacrosse 6th grade. And I ran cross country this year, which was fun. It helped with basketball a lot, especially because we full court pressed the whole time. So it helped with my stamina.
Now, you've been at Lincoln all 4 years. You played basketball all 4 years. You played basketball at Lincoln before Moroni and Malachi came and before Graham Eikenberry even came. What was that like?
I mean, it was definitely different. We weren't as good. I wasn't on varsity my freshman year, but I was swinging my sophomore year, and that was when we only won 2 games. And so it's just been, these past 2 years have been great to have a good team, and it's just been a really fun experience.
You have a special highlight this year of some game that you can recall?
I mean, I think my highlight is just being able to compete with the top teams in the state, and it's just been a really fun experience, and I really enjoy playing with these two, and it's just fun.
One of the things I mentioned to you earlier, we broadcast, and when we sit in the stands. It's kind of better to be right in there where we can be down close to the court. And I happened to sit to do a game, and your parents sat down in front of me, and your dad sat right in front of me, introduced himself, wanted to make sure I got your name right. And then each time you scored a basket, he jumped up in front of our camera, and it was really a fun experience. Did they make it to all your games?
Yeah, they're very supportive, and they'll always support me with whatever I do, and they really love watching me play basketball.
Now, you're a senior like everybody else. You're one of the 9 seniors on the Lincoln Cardinal basketball team. How about the future for you?
I'm still deciding on where I want to go to college, but I think I'll definitely play intramural or a club, at least wherever I go.
And what field do you want to study?
Right now I'll probably go into some aspect of business. I'm still deciding which aspects completely.
I don't know if I remember. Did I ask you, Moroni, what field you want to be interested in? Have you made that decision?
I want to be like a PE teacher and
Like
basketball
Mom.
coach. Yeah, sort of like Mom. So just like going into education and teaching PE and stuff.
What about you, Malachi?
I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I just know I want to do something where I'm helping people.
I don't know about you, Coach, but when I went off to college, I probably changed my major.
Oh, I changed mine 4 times.
I probably changed mine at least that many times. What's it like having Jimmy on the team?
Oh, Jimmy's great. So one thing I really like about Jimmy, so Jimmy, last year we had, I had 3 seniors that graduated, 2 of them that started in the wing position. And so Jimmy played a lot of JV and didn't play a lot of varsity minutes. But he learned our system. He worked really hard this off season, and he bought into what we're doing. And then this year he's been, to me, I think the biggest jump from last year to this year with his play that he's done. He's our most consistent player as far as I know what I'm going to get out of him every night. He plays really good defense up in the front of the press. He can shoot. He rarely turns the ball over. He runs our offense. He's just really solid, and he's come a long ways as a player. And and his play, and I think his play and some of these other role players that they stepped in and filled, some big positions with Trevor and Sawyer leaving. A big part of our success is due to these kids that have stepped up and bought in, and he's just done a really nice job.
Now, I believe you have 6 games left, all league games.
All league games.
What's your next game?
We're playing Grant on Tuesday night.
Grant?
7 o'clock at Lincoln. Come on.
7 o'clock at Lincoln. You guys have already played Grant once.
Correct.
You're 10-0 in conference. I think Cleveland is next at 7-2. What do you remember about Grant?
We know Grant pretty well because that was the former Cleveland coach, and me and Malachi actually played on a club team where he was our head coach. So we know the coach pretty well, and then obviously we played them, so we know the team pretty well.
That's Dontrell, right?
Yeah, Dontrell Campbell.
When I interviewed him before, he told me that he played basketball against Damian Lillard.
I think they're good buddies.
I think they
He
are.
played with Damian Lillard.
I think they played with, not
With.
against.
Yeah, the same high school team.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Coach,
But they make me, and because he just got the job in at the end of the year, at the end of the summer, so they're just getting better and better and better. So and in the PIL, you just can't take anyone for granted, So
Exactly.
I'm sure he'll have them prepared.
Coach, any final thoughts on the rest of the season?
No, I just, and I think that these 3 are just representation of like all 9 seniors that we have are just outstanding young men, and just really grateful to have this opportunity to coach them. And it's just been a super fun season so far. It's going way too fast. I can't believe there's only 3 weeks left, but we're excited.
One of the benefits about doing this show is I get to see what really great kids are out playing sports
They
now,
really are.
and they're admirable young men.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, that's the Lincoln Cardinal basketball team. Head coach Heather Seeley-Roberts, Moroni Seeley-Roberts, Malachi Seeley-Roberts, and Jimmy McCartan, who have joined us tonight. Good luck on the rest of the season, and stick around during the rest of the season. We'll have more episodes of SportsBeat TV. I'm Dave Hall. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.